See that? Fella's dead down there. Must have gone off the cliff.
Yep.
Think he's...
Red Dead Redemption 2 is arguably one of the best and well-known games made by Rockstar ever since the Grand Theft Auto franchise. Released in 2018, it had over 99,000 players at its peak in the Steam chart. And still, to this day, it averages over 50,000 players consistently. This video essay will go over how Red Dead Redemption 2 represents reality and its place in popular culture and how it made use of encoding and decoding visual media. This action-adventure game was set in 1899, where you play as an outlaw who goes by the name of Arthur Morgan. Your mission is to progress through the main story that is scattered around an open-world environment, which is an exaggerated version of Wild West America. The overall plot is shaped entirely by the player's choice throughout the game, but it will still end with Arthur Morgan succumbing to tuberculosis. By the way, there were no treatment for tuberculosis until the late 1940s. The game itself is often praised by fans and critics alike for the historical accuracy, from the accurate fashion trends to the game's timeline, despite being an over-exaggerated rendition. Arthur's story and sad demise shattered the hearts of fans worldwide, even regarding it as one of the saddest moments in video game history.
Senta, por favor.
And the Game Award goes to...
Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Red Dead Redemption 2
Red Dead Redemption 2
is a game of the generation.
As some of the greatest characters we've ever seen.
It's a must-play if you're a fan of open-world games.
There's so much more, like I said, I don't have time to get into. Some story surprises, the amount of horse stuff, yada yada.
Despite the game being released roughly 7 years ago, large fandoms are still active across multiple platforms such as X, formerly Twitter, and Reddit. This is where fans share their own artwork, memes, and cosplay based on the game's characters. The game's mass activity and relevance nowadays are mostly due to its compatibility with mods.
Leave the boy alone.
Or what?
Or I'll kill you too.
There are over 2,900 mods available on Nexus Mod, with more being added every day. The type of mods most players use are called quality of life mods that aim for a more immersive experience like photorealistic reshades, gunmetal rework, viable properties, and any other mods that improve the look and change the gameplay altogether. Sometimes mods that fix issues and glitches from the vanilla version of the game are also considered as quality of life mods. The abundance of Easter eggs left by the developers also encourage the players to keep playing and piece everything together. One of the Easter eggs that is commonly known by fans is the Strange Man, who made his first appearance in the first Red Dead Redemption game, where you play as John Marston in a side mission. In Red Dead Redemption 2, the Strange Man can be found in a mysterious shack in the wood as a painting. However, not many is known about him, which makes him the most interesting and mysterious character in the franchise. One fan theory suggests the Strange Man is death himself because he knows every fate of a person before it happens, following his dark outfit he wears as if he is wearing an attire for a funeral.
What's your name?
You know, it's the darndest thing. I can't remember.
Tell me your name or I won't be responsible for my actions.
Oh, but you will. You will be responsible. This is a fine spot. See you around, cowboy.
Damn you!
Yes, many have.
there, friend. Go on.
Arthur's Morgan tale, full of struggle and turmoil, left a lasting impression on players worldwide, with some fans revisiting the game to relive his story and find hidden details and meaning throughout their second playthrough. For example, some players have decoded the game's use of symbolism through Arthur Morgan's character as a representation of the Van der Linde's gang's group bond. At the start of the game, Arthur is portrayed as a healthy man, and the group bond still holds strong. However, as time goes on, internal affairs arises and the group grows ever distant from each other. Meanwhile, Arthur has been diagnosed with tuberculosis and is visibly more worn and tired due to his ailment. Eventually, the gang fully disbanded when Arthur succumbs to his illness and injuries at the end of the game. Another player from game's radar has also noticed Rockstar's portrayal of the 5 stages of grief reflected in the stages of Arthur Morgan's life. In one of the game's first cutscenes, Arthur is seen returning to safety on horseback with the Van der Linde gang after failing a ferry heist. This stage represents denial as Arthur, shivering in the cold darkness after losing 2 members of the gang, starts to question Dutch leadership and judgment as the head of the Van der Linde gang.
What really went down back there on that boat? We missed you. That's what happened. Come on.
Later, in the Horseshoe Overlook and Clemens Point arc, misled by Dutch teachings, Arthur allows his emotion to overpower him as he threatens Herman Starr's debtor, robbing trains and townspeople, stirring trouble in towns such as Valentine and Strawberry, as well as lashing out at his fellow gang members for slacking off. This stage represents anger on top of his already growing denial. In the Clement Point and St. Denis arc, Arthur enters his stage of bargaining as he and the gang are forced to work with different factions to obtain what they want, which includes him making deals with the Greys and the Braithwaters, the families that killed one of the members, Sean McGuire's, and kidnapped Jack Marston, respectively. He also has to do dirty works in an attempt to rescue Jack. His stage of depression is set in action in his Gauma and Lacaille arc, following another failed robbery in Saint Denis and the marrying of himself and other members of his gang in Cuba. Left cashless, disarmed, and stranded with no means of rescue, Arthur starts to question if we or Dutch can continue to live in an age that doesn't want outlaws anymore.
We're thieves in a world that don't want us no more.
Arthur then enters his final stage of grief, acceptance, in the Beaver Hollow arc. With his end growing nearer due to his tuberculosis entering his final stages, Arthur decides not to hide or bury his past misdemeanor, but rather to acknowledge and accept them before moving forward and using his remaining time to do some good, as he decides to give away his blood money and evict Strauss, the debt collector. Seeing Arthur live through the 5 stages of grief shows players that Arthur is not a bad man, but rather the only member of his group that still retains some humanity. Instead of letting grief turn him sour, he decides to see it as a chance to reform, giving fans a character they can sympathize for, as they see not a cold killer, but a good man who simply got unlucky in life.